Okay, so welcome back to the deep dive. It's Halloween,
Oh, yeah.
but we're not talking about ghosts and goblins and all that.
No.
Instead, we're going to dive into some college football.
Okay.
Specifically, this game between the South Florida Bulls
Right.
and the Florida Atlantic Owls.
Interesting matchup.
And, last year this game was a real blowout. I mean, FAU just crushed them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Really?
won by 42 points.
Oh, man.
But could this be the year that South Florida, pulls off an upset?
Possibly, yeah. That revenge factor could be huge.
Right. I mean, you think about that 56-14 loss. I mean,
Oof. Yeah, that's going to stick with you.
that's got to be motivating.
For sure.
So let's dive into the numbers here a little bit. So South Florida, they're coming off a win, right?
Yeah, finally snapped that 3-game losing streak against UAB.
Right. So they got that W, but they haven't been covering the spread lately.
Interesting. How so?
Yeah, so they covered their first 3 games of the season, but
Yeah.
haven't covered the last 4.
Oh, so they started strong but kind of fell off.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you
Yeah.
think? What does that tell us about this team?
Well, it could point to some inconsistency, right? Which, makes them a bit unpredictable heading into this matchup.
Yeah, makes you wonder which South Florida team is going to show up.
Exactly.
Now, FAU hasn't exactly been lighting it up this season either.
No, not at all. They're 2-5 under their new coach, Tom Herman.
2-5, huh?
Yeah, and several of those losses were real nail biters, just couldn't quite get over the hump.
So close, but no cigar, right?
Right. And sometimes those close losses can be more concerning than blowouts. Maybe a sign they're just not quite there yet.
Yeah, it could be a sign of some underlying issues.
Yeah,
And speaking of issues, you got to talk about FAU's defense. It's been, well,
a little rough.
yeah, it's putting it mildly, giving up 38 points or more in 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it if they want to win.
And on top of that, the over has hit in 4 out of their last 5 games.
So a lot of points being scored when FAU takes the field.
Exactly. It's like a track meet out there. Makes you wonder if their offense is having to overcompensate for the defense's shortcomings.
Yeah, maybe they feel like they need to score on every possession.
Which might be tough to do against a South Florida team that's looking for revenge.
True, and especially with South Florida's quarterback, Byron Brown, back in the lineup.
Right, he's a big factor here.
Huge. Before his injury, he was putting up some impressive numbers.
Remind us what he was doing.
Yeah, he was averaging over 125 passing yards per game, had 2 touchdowns through the air, and on the ground, he was adding another 42 rushing yards per game and 3 rushing touchdowns.
Wow, so he can beat you with his arm and his legs.
A true dual-threat quarterback.
And you got to think, he's going to be extra motivated coming back from that injury.
Yeah, ready to make a statement.
So, looking at all these factors, what's your prediction for this spread?
I gotta go with South Florida minus 2.5. FAU's defense just seems too vulnerable, and with Brown back, I think South Florida's offense will put up enough points to cover.
I like it. And for the game total,
Over.
I'm going over 2. 49.5 points feels a little low considering all the offensive firepower.
I agree.
Yeah, especially if Brown is playing like he was before the injury, this one could turn into a shootout.
Yeah, both offenses have the potential to put up big numbers.
All right, so there you have it. Our predictions are in. South Florida minus 2.5 and the over at 49.5 points.
Let's see if those defenses can make a stop or two, huh?
Right. Could be a wild one. And for all you listeners out there, will South Florida get their revenge or will FAU pull off the upset?
What do you think?
Weigh the factors we've discussed
Look at the numbers.
and make your own informed prediction. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.